Hey fellow lost souls, welcome once again to the 10th world. On this channel, I discuss the factions that design, engineer, and build the worlds we explore in our games, movies, and stories. Today, we're going to discuss the magic that makes our own world and the world of Valheim what they are. Everything from magic portals to lucky amulets. This should be an interesting one. As a warning, this video does contain spoilers for the stories of Valheim. Alright, let's get into it. From the haunted forests, mist-shrouded swamps, frozen mountains, and burning wastes of the 10th world, magic seeps and flows. It not only lives in these places, it changes them. It comes from primordial nothingness and was shaped by gods in ways we mortals can only understand through stories. Tales of magic in our own world are not so different, and often shape the way we think about what we see, hear, and feel around us. There are many interpretations about what magic is, however, these questions are not the focus of this video. The question here is, what can we do with it? What skills and techniques can we use to take advantage of the strange powers around us, to contain and use them, and to protect ourselves from those who would use them against us? How can a carpenter carve spaces in wood for magic to fill? How might it be woven into cloth? How can a blacksmith shape magic with their hammer, or a mason enclose it between mortared stones? How could a warrior wield it as a weapon or a shield? How can it guide and protect us in the dark, and how can we bind it to help us in our fight against the Forsaken? We stand in the 10th world, dead, yet still we draw breath, gone from the mortal world, but powerful in the lands beyond. The hands of gods have touched these places, and such is the case in our own world, if the stories are to be believed. The tale of the tree and the place we now stand in comes from these tellings, and they've been told for a long, long time. So, what stories did our ancestors tell about the magic of the world? How it all works? The cosmology of the ancient Norse is complex, and there are many interpretations. I've spoken before about the significance of trees and their myths and tales, and how all of existence is envisioned as being located on a massive ash tree called Yggdrasil. The world, as we know it, was formed from void, heat, and cold. I believe a cow was involved, but we don't need to go that far back. At the time we come into the picture, there are 9 realms of existence, stretched across this tree whose roots, trunk, and branches pass between them and allow travel for those able to do so. Some worlds are perched high up in the tallest branches, while others sit tangled deep in the roots. Others spread out along the trunk. Asgard is the home of the gods, such as Odin. It's the source of much magic. This is the place where Valhalla is located, the hall for honored heroes. Alfheim is the home of the Light Elves. It may once have been a gift to their people. Niflheim is a realm of frost, cold, ice, and snow. At its frozen heart lies the source of all rivers. Midgard is a land crafted from the body of a dead giant. It's the home of mortals such as us listening to this video right now. Vanaheim is a land of other gods. These are different than the Aesir and Odin's kin. Jotunheim is a cold land filled with vast forests on the edge of the sea. It's a home to giants. Muspelheim is a place of fire and heat. It's where fire giants live. Nidavellir is a place of darkness and home to the dwarves who craft with skill and magic. And 9th of the worlds is Hell, the final land of the dead where those not chosen for entry to Valhalla or Folkvangr go. It's the abode of the goddess Hel. The realm's cold, dark, and damp, like a grave. These are the 9 realms on the world tree as these ancient myths tell us. But what if? There is a 10th world. Deep below the roots of Yggdrasil it lies, and more monsters live here. Odin and the gods have many enemies, and they're always fighting against them. Odin himself spends much time trying to delay or make ready against the coming of cataclysmic battles. These gods, by their doings, have made many enemies, and Odin in particular. A number of these he defeated and sent them down to the 10th world. It was at the time, like any other of the 9, connected to Yggdrasil by roots and branches. Odin, though, in his wisdom, decided that these beings should be imprisoned here, too dangerous to be allowed to regain their strength and rise against the other worlds. He used his powers to sever the branches and roots connecting Valheim to the tree, and, in so doing, saved the rest of existence the trouble of these beings, now called the Forsaken. But no matter how strong a prison's walls, those within will always seek escape. Indeed, the Forsaken began again to gather power to themselves. Odin saw this, and knew that he could not risk their return. Warriors of Midgard, who might gain entry to Valhalla by the Valkyries after falling in battle, now were sometimes sent instead to Valheim to prove themselves worthy. Not all, mind you. Odin, ever the cunning god, knew that by pitting great warriors against these foes, that he could weaken them and disrupt their plans. And so here we find ourselves, waking on the cold stone with the wind blowing chill through the trees. We may be alone, or be lucky enough to encounter others who have come with us. It is clear that yet more have gone before. The remains of their buildings rot in the rain, and the stories left on their runestones glow with power. There are other creatures here, simple beasts like boars and birds. Many of the lands we find are much like those we left behind, with dense forests and wide green plains. Some of these lands are different, though, such as the Ash and Mistlands. We find monsters here that rarely come to Midgard, such as Greylings, Draugr, Trolls. We know of their stories, though. Against these foes and more, we have to learn to harness the powers here and use them to our advantage if we're to survive and make our way to Valhalla to take our place among the warriors there. The world of Midgard hosts many foes and many challenges, and we must learn to use what magic we can lest our enemies use it against us. Our ancestors used the power of the world to become seers and peer into the future. To know that a battle was coming and be ready was of great importance. Greater still if you could learn the outcome, and by knowing, change it. Runes and bones and other auguries were cast and fortunes read in this way to show the best way forward. Death, pain, and illness were great challenges, and still are, to live in this middle realm. Calling on the powers of gods of the land to heal was something the Norse practiced in many ways. Runes and symbols were carved into items to grant some favor in battle or in life. These practices and more came from a deep understanding of the stories of their gods and the magical workings of the world. They used them to protect themselves and one another and to influence their fates if they foresaw some disaster ahead. What magic on Midgard is of use to mortals is limited. We come to the 10th world unused to all that's at our disposal. We likely first encounter power here as it exists in the natural world, within the plants and creatures around us. What dread life force animates the skeletons that wander the black woods? What power glows blue behind the eyes of the Grey Dwarves? These things are a small sort of magic. We can take their remnants and shape them with our tools in various ways. When we slay these foes, we cut from them the pieces that we can use to build and create. The eyes of the Grey Dwarfs, for instance, are not difficult to obtain if we can fight these beings effectively. They, as I said, glow blue, and with them we can make many magical items. Special glowing torches, for instance. We can mix their magic into our meads as well to help us against the cold if we know the recipe. From the forsaken Eikthyr, we will cut an antler strong enough to mine through stone and copper and tin. When we use these items to build and create, we infuse their magic into our items. In time, we'll learn to craft or be able to purchase items of greater power that will help us in exploration and battle. Items such as the Dvergr circlet grant us an everlasting light when our torches would go out, while suits of armor infused with Aether protect us from damage and replenish our health when we're not well. These items can grant us strength or give us the ability to run faster and jump higher. We'll learn as we go to create new weapons that harness the powers of these lands. We can deal damage to an enemy's spirit with axes and swords made from crystal. Swords like Mistwalker, infused with Aether, can cut through the very mists themselves. As we make our way deeper into the Mistlands and unlock their secrets, we'll discover greater powers at our disposal if we're willing to work for them. I'll discuss these later in the video. These simple magics can protect us and grant us greater abilities when facing the challenges of the 10th world. Our ancestors, likewise, made use of the powers they learned from their stories, and with them, infused the world around them with magic. The runes used to carve their stories were held in high esteem as symbols. There were many legends of how these symbols came to be. Some involved the gods themselves. The letters of the various runic alphabets each held symbolic meanings beyond their use as a language. This characteristic made them easy to use in rituals and ceremonies. They could be inscribed to ask favor from the gods. They might give the wearer of an amulet strength in times of need, or they could, in the hands of a powerful being, be used to turn a mundane item into a magical one. The dwarves of Nidavellir were known to be users of magic of this sort, creating all kinds of magic items, including those used to great effect by the gods themselves. The famous Hammer of Thor was forged by dwarves at the bidding of a trickster god, as well as the Spear of Odin. Mortals could use these runes to a limited effect in this way, though on Midgard, these skills were rare. Carpenters and builders have learned to use the magic of the 10th world to construct devices of all kinds, from tools which harness magical energy to the portals which we can use to transport ourselves quickly from one place to another. Portals, in fact, will likely be the first of these items we'll learn to build once we progress in our journey from a cold, naked soul to a warrior and survivor. They use the magic of Grey Dwarf Eyes, 10, and Surtling Cores, 2, which can be obtained in the swamp crypts among other places. Constructed from fine wood and inlaid with glowing runes, 2 must be constructed and each given an identical name in order to function. Once this is done, we can travel from portal to portal simply by stepping through one and emerging from the other. These simple portals do not allow certain items to pass through, though, and we must learn to build stone portals to solve this problem. These require much rarer and more difficult materials, though, so they'll not be easy to create in the beginning of your journey. As we grow stronger and learn to harness the powers of the Mistlands, we'll need some magical tools. We'll learn to construct the Black Forge to create and maintain these magical items. Those who do not wish to keep refilling their torches with resin and wood can create Dvergr lanterns which provide light without needing to be fueled. The Galder table, previously mentioned, will be needed, much like the Black Forge, to create and maintain magical items. It requires many magical ingredients, including Yggdrasil wood. By learning about the world and remembering the stories of old, we can learn of these legends and the magic that they describe. Stories are what drive us and give our worlds form. We should never forget that. From the legends passed down through time, we know of many things that shape our view of the world and the powers within it. We can learn of the creation of the Nine Realms and of the very world tree itself, of magical things such as the Bifrost Bridge. We know the names of the gods, who they are, what they do, and why they might make the choices they make. The Aesir were, for the most part, strong warriors, and greatly skilled at diplomacy. They fought many battles and defeated countless enemies in one way or another, some by strength of arm, and others by cunning. Thor, who struck the world serpent with his hammer. Odin, who fought giants and primordial beings, for instance. These legends tell us much about the gods and their doings among the Nine Realms, but what of their enemies? What of the Forsaken? The gods fought with the Jotun, sure, and they outwitted dwarves and showed their cunning and strength against all manner of strange beings. None of these were so imprisoned as the Forsaken, cut off from the other realms entirely. Their names stricken from history, remembered only on runestones of Valheim. Why must they be summoned to fight, and who are they? The first that you will face is Eikthyr. This being takes the form of a mighty stag, his body wrapped in chains crackling with lightning. He must be summoned by placing the trophies from 2 deer on his altar in the woods. He'll strike you with his antlers, blast you with lightning, and stomp the ground to deal great damage. You must block his attacks with a shield and strike in between his attacks. Thus will you defeat him and move on. You must next defeat the Elder by placing 3 ancient seeds on his altar in the Black Forest. You can summon him. He's a giant made from gnarled wood and twisting vines. He'll cause the very forest to turn against you. There are many ways to fight him, but arrows tipped with fire will have a great effect as long as you block and dodge his blows. Next you'll fight Bone Mass, a creature formed from toxic sludge and rotted corpses. You may summon him in the swamp using 10 withered bones. He's strong and vile, summoning other minions to join him in battle. He'll be difficult to defeat. His poison will kill you quickly if you're not equipped to defend against it and fortified with hardy mead. Next will come Moder, who is summoned in the mountains with 3 dragon eggs. She's the mother of drakes, and her mastery of ice and frost are deadly. She's difficult to defeat, and you'll need a bow to strike when she's in flight, and a strong weapon to hit her up close when she's landed. Then you'll fight Yagluth, little more now than a skeletal torso, head and arms animated by foul magic. He wears the remains of a crown on his skull, though of what he is or was king, none remembers save perhaps Odin himself. He's summoned with 5 fueling trophies, and to defeat him, you have to be well defended against fire. The Queen of the Seekers you'll fight next. Slithering on her belly, her massive claws strike hard, and her kin will join her in the fight. She's covered in armor and is the mother of their brood. Be prepared to fall from height and to be pushed around. Ensure you have strong armor and are prepared to heal yourself frequently. And last is the being known as Fader. Taking the form of the animated skeletal remains of a great dragon, power seeps from his body in the form of green and eerie glow. He once flew through the skies before madness took him. The fight's hard, bring weapons that bludgeon and cut, and stock well up on meads to heal. Their stories are lost in time. Fragments can be found on runestones scattered throughout the lands. When you've defeated each, mounting their heads on the stone circle by which you arrived will grant you powers that you'll need to fight the rest. Many, like Eikthyr, possess items without which you can't progress. That's the why of it. For greater clarity, you'll have to ask Odin when you join him in Valhalla. Such is the magic of gods and monsters in the 10th world. What of other magics? Magics that you can wield. Such things are not, as previously mentioned, easily obtained by mortals, though there were some in ancient times who sought to do so. The Norse were, like the heroes in their stories, great builders, crafters, and warriors. War requires skill and intelligence. It requires strength and speed. Most often, to succeed in war requires a lot of luck. The powers of the realms were used in many ways in war. Warriors carved inscriptions into their helms and shields as protections against blows or as a way to frighten their enemies. Amulets and charms were inscribed with words or phrases which grant their user power or protection. Runes for gladness would bring happiness, runes of healing could help remove illness or injury, or runes of victory might be carved into a weapon to secure favor in a fight. With runes and incantations, we can call on the powers of the world of Midgard to protect and strengthen us. In the 10th world, things are more explosive. We can extract magic from the land of the dead and use its power to both create and destroy. Aether is raw magical power. We hold it within us, and in order to gain it, we have to eat foods infused with it. It regenerates over time as we use it, and without it, we'll not be able to use our magical weapons and tools. We have to learn to harvest sap from the roots of the world tree, and then use an Aether refinery to turn that into refined Aether. We'll need this to create some of the tools we need to wield the magics available to us. As our craft skill grows, we can create powerful weapons that use Aether to create elemental effects such as fireballs and blizzards, as well as granting us the ability to cast blood magic spells, which require some of our own life force as well. With these skills, we can summon the remains of the dead and other creatures to aid us, as well as creating shields to protect us from harm. The magic in the 10th world is potent. It gives us powers we could never hope to wield or access on Midgard. Our ancestors used their knowledge of stories and of their gods to harness what magic they could, as well as to help them in their time on the mortal plane. Skilled craftsmen and builders have found ways to carve and draw, paint, and whisper magic into the items they create. That magic comes down to us in the form of revered weapons and stories cut into stone. We know about gods and the worlds beyond our own in this way, and we in turn can pass this knowledge down to those who come after us. The land of Valheim, and the souls sent by Odin to this 10th world, will create many more stories, and these we will also preserve and tell. The ways in which the magic of such a place can be gathered and used should not be forgotten to time. We'll need it if we're to prevent the rising of the Forsaken. So, that's how we take the magic of the world and turn it into the items we need to survive. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate everyone who sticks around. Well, I hope you all use your newfound powers for good, or at least to make some cool amulets that ward off ghosts or something. If you liked the video, please hit like. If you don't want the gods to laugh at you when you get to Valhalla, hit subscribe. If you can think of any other cool magical traditions, let me know in the comments down below. Oh, and before you go, I'm going to give a shout out to my patrons who help support the channel. Our $10 patron is Wasuki at the artisan level. If you want to get your name in the credits, head on over and sign up. The Patreon link is in the description. You'll get access to an exclusive Discord as well. And remember, don't eat the sausages in the 10th world. We all know where those entrails came from. Alright, thanks everyone. Bye, Internet.